ask her what her birthday was, they'd say, "Oh, you make me feel so young." I mean, she'd take the same question and kind of make it funny, well, to us anyways. But, for example, a few years back, Mom had me physical therapy at the house. Nurse came and asked the same question, "Are you safe?" My mother took high offense to it, asked her to leave, and told her to have a nice life. She came back after any of those meetings, but I mean, in the moment we felt bad, but I mean, the person was trying to do their job. But moving forward, every time one of my siblings or my mom, we make the joke like, "Are you safe?" Sometimes depending on we all get a little going. This part I'm going to read from the Bible, Colossians, okay, 3:2-3, King James Version, not the wrong James. "And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, and not unto men." I mean, it encourages believers to approach all their tasks with enthusiasm and dedication, as if they're working for the Lord Jesus Christ Himself, rather than for a human employer or a personal gain. And to be honest, I mean, if you ever walked in my mother's house, which everyone here has at least once, I mean, you know that she would take that to heart based off of how proud she was to keep up her home and keep it clean, keep it Katerina clean, is what we call it. Believe it or not, one of my mother's greatest cleaning achievements is when my father and her first got married, the first apartment they had, I think it was in Baker Street, someone from church came to their apartment and they complimented my mother how clean the apartment was. The lady told everyone at church, but you wouldn't tell my mother won the Super Bowl. I mean, that's how it was, it's one of her crowning achievements. It's funny, Mom could really lay out a story, which I'm trying to right now. And you never really knew if it was like kind of an exaggeration or if it actually kind of went down the way it did. Always entertaining. But I know you can sit up here forever telling stories. I mean, I think we all have some sort of Katerina story of some sort, she always had, you probably saw on the boards outside, certainly catchphrases. One of the ones she would tell myself and my friends, "Don't be lazy." She'd yell out some Fruit Loops. The famous one, especially the grandkids, "Gale," And then, of course, I know my dad heard this many times, "Thank you, bye." Or for me personally, because I lived with Mom for a while, she would say, "Can you stop getting me half and half?" So, or cream, whatever she said. I mean, there's a few other ones, but when the Lord's house, we can't say it all that. So, no, I'm just kidding. Honestly, Mom is really a complex person, but in a good way. She'd give you a hard time if she didn't see you for a little bit, if you're busy with life or whatever, and she wanted you to come over, especially with the grandkids. And then you get there, and then after a little bit, she's like, "All right, so when you guys leave?" And then call and complain one of my other sisters that we didn't show up and stay long enough. But it was out of love, obviously. It's funny. Mom was really tough, but she wasn't. It was weird. So when we were born, obviously, you're supposed to take a certain time off from work, when we're healing and whatnot, but I think after 1 or 2 days, Mom went back to work. Bad back, bad shoulder, house stayed clean, we all stayed in line somewhat. But it was funny, if she had to go to the doctors, if it was even like a needle like that big, I mean, a couple of times I feel bad for my sisters, they took their appointments, and my mother would yell so loud, they'd walk out of the room like, "Yeah, I don't know this lady," And it's funny, Mom was always honest in her eyes, and it's funny. She could cut you down with her honesty, put you back together, apologize for it, and then do something to eat. All within the same conversation, And growing up in the house, it was always some sort of chaos. Dad was always working, so Mom was always stuck with us. So it was myself, my mother, and my 3 sisters. So, having kids, having them in the house, always chaos. It was never anything bad. There was a lot of disagreements and arguments, but it was never like, weren't going for the throat. But, and I wasn't any better. I mean, I was a real rambunctious young man, and that's kind of being polite. But, looking back, I see that Mom didn't try to make it easy because she wanted me to see how to deal with life, difficult people, and difficult situations, because she was difficult. Again, in a good way, of course. And for that, I'm grateful. It took me a while to realize that years of therapy, but we got there. It's funny. Mom would always point out that she came to Boston in 1972, TWA flight 807. And she said so often. I know it's kind of weird that she didn't say it, and to me, I never understood what the big deal was. But now looking back, I understand for someone who wasn't born here to come here to your first trip to a new country and try and start a new life, that means something to you. So I always appreciate that point of view. My mother always championed hard work, respect, love, and family, regardless of whoever got to argue with whom. She always reminded us that we're family and that we love each other. And of course, she was right. My father, my sisters, myself will argue. In fact, we'll probably argue since we're done with all this, because I probably missed something. But there's never any meanness or malice. It's just, one of the nurses said that we all love hard, and I never thought of it like that before, but it's true. We really do. In some respects, my mother always taught us how to be a parent without even realizing she was teaching us how to be parents. It was, my friends used to think my parents were the cool parents because, the funny accent, my mother would always have her car, blasting music, and she raised my friends a few times. She won, actually. And it's funny, she would be blasting Michael Jackson, Ace of Base, 90s pop, 80s pop, whatever she was digging.
Don't forget Madonna.
Huh?
Madonna,
Madonna.
number
Sorry,
one.
I forget Madonna. I don't know if you said that in the Lord's sentence, but anyways. In that respect, my parents taught me how to be that embarrassing parent. As any kids will tell you, I am that embarrassing parent. I don't listen to Madonna or anything like that. My genre is rap. I won't mention any of the rappers, but no one knows who I'm talking about. The kids might.
We're in church too.
Huh?
We're in church too.
We're in church too. I know I don't say things like that. My mother's greatest achievement, or one of her greatest achievements, was being a mother, being a parent, and being a grandmother and great-grandmother. It was her highest honor. My parents were very successful with opening multiple restaurants. Giovanni's Roast Beef and Pizza, originalgiovanni's.com. Download the app. It was funny because, they did it together, and as the years went on, Dad was more on the road, Mom was always home. But if you think about it, without one, there could have been the other one, because there was a family involved, right? So it's, if Mom wasn't helping us out at the house, Dad was working, it was a team effort. And, again, I look back at that now and see it for what it was. And that was the rest of the success. It was a team effort. As we all gather here today, we all have our own Katerina memories and stories. And probably different phrases and such that my mother's bestowed upon everyone here in some capacity. I was reminded of one of our older neighbors about, walking around the neighborhood. My mother would walk around the neighborhood with a wooden spoon trying to feed us. She'd hit us if we weren't listening, but, wooden spoon nonetheless. Even with a brief interaction, you didn't forget who she was. Whether she was here at church, she was the hat lady, hence why we're doing the hats. She definitely, and I know I'm biased because it's my mom, but she's definitely unforgettable. This is why I'm really not going to try to cry, so I'll bear with me. I personally would like to thank my sisters, my brother-in-law Russ, through the years of me always working, trying to get my own businesses off the ground and doing stuff. My sisters, my brother-in-law, they were there for my mother. Whether the girls took a trip to Florida with Mom, and by the way, they fought the whole time. I think we lost one of the sisters, but she came back eventually. Or toward the later time where Joanna and Russ were taking care of Mom 24/7. Everyone contributed in their own way to Mom's health and well-being. And as her son and their brother, I just want to say thank you to you guys. At some point or another within her life, my mother helped any way she could. Giving one of her friends a ride home, cooking for them, sharing her story with them, asking to go get her coffee and cigarettes. She always made a connection with anyone anywhere she went. Like literally almost everywhere she went. So for those of you that made a difference in my mother's world, I want to say thank you, because I hope she made a difference in your world as well. Home stretch, really try not to cry. No more Halloweens of forgetting candy and forgetting to turn the light on. No more Thanksgivings of staying up all night cooking and then singing to my sister Stephanie happy birthday because, as my mother always said, she ate the turkey and then had Stephanie. I'm not calling you a turkey. Gobble. No more Christmases sitting around the living room with about 1,000 gifts on the floor, waiting for our parents to open their gifts. That's where I get it from, guys. Hoping that they would like it. Little side note, Mom's a regifter. She would regift. So any gift you got from my mom was probably from us, really.
So you're welcome.
You're welcome. No more New Year's Eve of breaking the pomegranate with her as I live stream on social media, while awkwardly she stares at the camera and tries to say something funny. No more Easters preparing everything for about a week and finally have about 100 people over the house to lamb. No more 4th of Julys with burnt hot dogs and hamburgers. And probably sometimes like Chinese food and stuff, but it was really bad. No more phone calls wishing us a happy name day. No more phone calls wishing us a happy birthday. No more phone calls asking for someone to stop and get her half and half or cream, which I already mentioned before. No more walking into the house and having us listen to one of her shows in full blast because she was losing her hearing. I mean, like you could hear it from outside. That's how bad it was. No more buying her Dunkin' Donuts. She loved the French cover donuts. No more taking her appointments. No more walking into a room and seeing her. No more I love yous. I don't know if that's my phone, that's that's alright. I know in the history of mankind, no one's passing has ever stopped the world from spinning, not even our Lord and Savior's. But since Saturday, when we lost Mom, I feel like my world's been at a standstill, and I know my family does too. At the end of the day, regardless of age, marital status, how many children we have, we're all just big kids. And as big kids, we always want our